everybody, welcome to DynamicsCon. I'm very excited to be able to be here. My name is Gino. I'm with Inovia Consulting, and I am super excited to be giving this presentation today. And I really want to thank the user group, Dynamics user group, and all the participants for voting in my session. I really am encouraged by what I'm about to explain here today to you, and I really hope that you enjoy it. As I mentioned a second ago, my name is Gino, and I am the Director of Project Teams at Inovia Consulting. I just want to take a second to introduce myself as from a personal aspect. Through this pandemic, we've all been working with different roommates and in different places, and I hope everyone is staying happy and healthy through everything that they've been going through these last couple of years. Today's session is called Tools for the Business Central Admin in Business Central SaaS. Today we're going to take a moment to view what Business Central SaaS has to offer for Business Central administrators. Just a little bit about my ERP experience. I started in NAV all the way back as a user in NAV version 3.7. I was a user, I was a director of IT, I was an ERP administrator, and I've worked with NAV 3.7 all the way to NAV 2018. And about 3 years ago, I jumped over to the Business Central or the Microsoft partner side to work with Business Central and many other organizations that are out there. I started off here at Inovia as a project manager, and then about a year ago, I moved into being the director of project teams, where I lead our entire delivery staff. So it's been really cool working with this product because I've been able to work with every iteration all the way back from the classic client to the role tailor client, now to the modern client with Business Central and its new code base. So I'm super excited to be able to share with you today what I've been learning. I know when I was a Business Central administrator, and the first notions of Microsoft releasing a software as a service product is, there were a lot of how do I questions that popped up. For example, how do I continue to have control of my environment? At that time, NAV was only really offered in an on-premise form where I had access from the servers that the software reside on, from a physical aspect or a virtual aspect, all the way up to the actual application and my data. And then how do I troubleshoot performance? If I don't have direct access to SQL or direct access to my server environment, how do I troubleshoot what is wrong in my SaaS environment? So today's objective that I want to go through with everyone today is how do you understand the tools that Microsoft has provided ERP administrators in SaaS to do a couple things: to control, to manage, and to support your company's environment. I'm hoping that I can answer some of your questions today in this session. So let's first start off with the architecture. Everyone's very familiar with the different types of architecture, especially if you're in the IT space. You have your on-premise product, you have your infrastructure as a service product, so maybe you're hosting your servers in a virtual environment, whether it's a private data center or a Azure environment. You have your platform, which is your platform as a service, which is literally the service provider hosts everything from the network all the way up to the runtime. You still have control of your data and your application. And then there's software as a service, where the provider hosts everything from your network all the way up to your application. Now, when talking in the Business Central and NAV mindset, there are two different products. You have your on-premise product, and then you have your SaaS product. The on-premise product is still falls within one of these three categories: your on-premise, your infrastructure as a service, or your platform as a service. And then you have your Business Central SaaS, which falls into your SaaS or software as a service product, where Microsoft actually controls everything from the network of your Business Central environment all the way through your data into the application. So they control the updates, they house the data for you, they manage the security. Everything is sort of behind the scenes managed by Microsoft. And it begs a lot of questions, especially when you're a NAV administrator and you've been doing it for a long time, and you don't quite know how you're going to be able to manage your environment. So I'm going to show you some tools today that will hopefully be able to explain some of that to you. And also, I'll be available for your questions right after this presentation. So please stick around, write your questions in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer some of them for you. So let's jump into what tools are available to help manage your Business Central SaaS environment. And we're just going to jump right into it here, okay? So the first thing I want to jump into is the Business Central Admin Center. Your Business Central Admin Center is basically like your server management console for your Business Central tenant. It's where you manage your production and your sandbox environments, you set up notifications, you set up users. Everything is done directly through your Business Central admin environment. And what I'm going to do here quickly is I'm going to go ahead and do a demo of the Business Central environment in my demo account. So just give me a second here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up on my screen here. And the first thing I want to go ahead and show you is the main landing page of your Business Central Admin Center environment. In your Business Central Admin Center, the first thing that you're displayed with is all the list of the environments that you have. These house both your production and your sandbox environments. As you can see here, I have a list of a couple of different ones. From here, I can do things like create a new environment, refresh my list of environments. Along the left-hand side is a navigational window or an action pane, and the action pane allows you to do a couple of different things. So to start off, you can add notification recipients to your environment. These will allow people to receive notifications for updates to your Business Central environment, and any outages or changes or anything like that to your Business Central environment. Telemetry, which will allow you to troubleshoot various aspects of your environment based off of what users are currently doing in the environment. So when looking at the reported outages, you can look at your reported outages of your Business Central environment over a period of time. There's your Operations tab that allows you to look at your operations that happen from a tenant level. So whether you're creating or copying or moving an environment in Business Central, it allows you to take a look at what's happened over a period of time. And the last piece is your capacity. The capacity piece shows you how much storage you're actually using in your Business Central environment, where your storage is coming from, your quotas of your different environments in your Business Central tenant, and then your storage use by your environments as well. So you can see how much of your database storage is actually being used, being consumed by environment as well. I'm going to jump right back to our environments page because I want to jump in and take a look at what the specific environment settings that are available for you. So if I'm going to take a look at my production environment here, when I click on it, it's going to bring me to my environment or my production environment page. From here, I can do a couple of different things. I can take a look at all the information that's about my environment. I can get directly into my environment. I can manage my updates for my environment. That includes viewing what applicable versions are available for my tenant to upgrade to. And I can set my update window. Controlling my update window is very important because maybe if I have certain business hours and I don't want my tenant to go down or my Business Central environment to go down, I can go ahead and schedule those outside of my business's hours. Other things that I can do in the Business Central admin page is things like viewing the apps that are installed in my environment. These are all the apps that were installed from Business Central App Source, and if there are any updates, I can also update my environment or my applications from within this environment also. Back to production. I'm going to take a look at my sessions. Managing sessions in Business Central has been something that's been around forever and a day, even on-premise. You can continue to do that in SaaS. When you open up your Manage Sessions page, you can now see all of the users that are logged into your Business Central environment. You can cancel selected sessions. You can refresh the page. You can even restart your entire Business Central environment directly from the Manage Sessions page in Business Central. So from my environment, I'm back on my environment management page now. I can do other items like export a SQL backpack of my data. I can issue support tickets with Microsoft. I can set up my update settings here within this update settings window. I can copy, restore, and rename my environments, and then I can also delete them as well. So all of this is all managed from the Business Central Admin Center. which is a really, really cool place for you to be able to manage just from a IT management, server management type perspective. Microsoft is adding things with every release to this to the Admin Center for you to be able to better manage your environments, which is pretty cool. I'm going to pop back over to my slideshow here now. The next step is using some troubleshooting tools within Business Central SaaS. Okay, one item that even though you do not have direct access to SQL, one cool thing that you'll be able to do is look at the database locks that are on your environment. So I'm going to pop back over to my Business Central environment. I'm going to go into my Business Central client, and from within my Business Central client, I'm going to go ahead and look up the Business Central database locks page. And the database locks page, when I look it up here, I can see all the locks and information that's available for that lock directly from this page. Even though I don't have direct access to SQL, it will allow me to see what tables and resources are being locked in my environment. I can look at the usernames and the objects that are being executed within the system, and this will force me or allow me to be able to talk to users and see what's going on and be able to kick out who needs to be kicked out because they're running a process they probably shouldn't have been running. Another tool that's available to Business Central admins is a tool called Application Insights. Now, Application Insights isn't directly a Business Central or Nav product. It's actually a product of Azure. Application Insights is a performance management tool that's part of a product called Azure Monitor. And what it does is it allows you to help be proactive with the performance anomalies that may be in your Business Central environment. It helps detect usability, how users are flowing through your environment, and it allows you to. What it does is it emits raw data, so you can use it for many different reasons and in many different tools. A couple of tools that I'm going to show you today is being able to look at the raw data and see the type of telemetry that Microsoft emits to the environment, and then also it'll also show you some Power BI dashboards that Microsoft provides for free, so you can get an idea of how to display your data so you can effectively troubleshoot and be proactive with how your environment is responding to users on a daily basis. So how is Application Insights used with Business Central? It's used in mainly two different ways. The first one, it admits your telemetry as traces. Traces are data points that's within Microsoft's code that sends out just messages to the Application Insights environment and logs it. And you can enable these on two different levels. You can enable it on the tenant level, where it responds to how your tenant is responding to things like within SQL or permissions related, and then at the extension level. So within Microsoft's base application, they admit telemetry about things that you're doing within that application, or the applications that are installed in your Business Central environment. Partners have the ability to emit telemetry on custom PTE extensions, or ISVs are able to do it on their app source extensions to better help see how their users are using their applications and be able to help troubleshoot it as well. So what I want to do is I just want to quickly take a look at analyzing your telemetry data. So I'm going to do that using KQL in the Application Insights portal. And then we're going to take a look at a Power BI report that Microsoft has provided to us for free. And it gives you the ability to see how to put the data that comes out of Application Insights into a graphical format for you to be able to digest more effectively. So let's pop over to my Business Central environment again. So the first place I'm going to start off is your Application Insights, the Application Insights Microsoft Docs website. And what this is it allows you to see what type of event IDs that Microsoft emits in their telemetry. The event IDs can be anything from monitoring emails that are being sent from the environment to sensitive field values. Another big one is performance. If I go ahead and look at some of the performance telemetry, what it does is it looks at long-running SQL queries, database locks, and timeouts. It looks at database lock snapshots, long-running AL methods. All of this is done in the Business Central or emitted out of Business Central. It even goes as far as looking at web service requests as well. So what I'm going to do is I want to quickly jump over to my Application Insights environment within Microsoft Azure, or within the Microsoft Azure portal. From here, I can run my KQL queries. KQL is the language that Microsoft uses to communicate with Application Insights and to query stuff from the Application Insights database. I can do things as simple as taking traces. So I want to go ahead and look at the top 100 traces from my environment. And these are from the last 24 hours. When I run this, as you can see, Microsoft sends, this is all the information that was sent out of my Business Central environment into Application Insights. And when I take a look at an item, for instance, this web service call, I can expand it and see what telemetry is emitted from Business Central. By looking at the custom dimensions, these are custom items that are sent out of the Business Central environment, so such as object IDs and the type of objects, and even the client and in company that the data is being emitted from, and even my event ID, so I can take a look at the events in the environment. If I go ahead and quickly create a new query here, I can run another query here that is focused more around database performance. So I can go ahead and look at queries that are around my long-running SQL queries or too many joins in my SQL database. If I'm looking at the number of joins that are in my database here, I can take a look at the custom dimensions, the page where the multiple joins are happening in my database, even look at the AL object, how long it took to open, and the extensions that are joining my database, or joining together to open this page in Business Central. So powerful data is coming out of here. The other way you can visualize it is in a Power BI report. Microsoft provides Power BI, a sample Power BI report for you to be able to analyze information within Business Central. By looking at this Power BI report, you can do things by analyze sessions within your environment, how long it takes the client to actually open, long-running SQL queries within your environment as well, based off object. So if I want to look at my tables, I can sort by tables over a period of time. And if I just select my customer table, I can see the long-running SQL queries and AL queries for my customer card in Business Central. Web services is another visual that you can take a look at. You can sort by type of web service, as well as the response code and the object type as well. All directly from Power BI, which is great. Jumping back into my PowerPoint here, the last piece I want to talk about is automation. Microsoft has been slowly incorporating APIs into their Business Central Admin Center as well as the Business Central environment, so you as administrators can automate tasks that you do on a daily basis. These are things like providing capabilities for uploading rapid start templates into Business Central and applying them, handling extensions, uninstalling, reinstalling them, updating them, all can be done via APIs. Managing users, such as user groups, permission sets, modifying user properties, scheduling jobs in the job queue and monitoring them and their statuses, and other things like automation. Or other things within automation include things like administration APIs, like working with your production, your sandbox environments. If you want to automatically recreate your environments on a regular basis, you can set up an automation to do that. You can set up administrative notifications on your environment and then also view telemetry on events from a tenant level. So when you're monitoring all your environments at once instead of just your regular, your one single environment. All that's available via automation APIs that Microsoft's making available, and they're also enhancing them on a version by version basis, which is really cool. So I just want to take a second just again to thank everybody, thank the community for voting on my session. Thank you DynamicsCon and Dynamics User Group. You guys are great. This is an amazing community where everyone can get together and talk everything Business Central and Dynamics 365. In just a moment here, I'm going to be popping up live. I'll be able to answer your questions that you're going to put in the chat, and I look forward to talking with everybody here momentarily. Thank you again. Hey there, everybody. Hope everyone's doing good today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my session. Promise, I'm Gino. I just shaved the beard. It's gone. Please enter your questions in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them in the couple minutes that we have here. Let's see. Suppose I have an ISP solution in the App Store. Could I be able to see how many people have downloaded the app, installed it, the extension, the database, how many active users are using it in telemetry? Yes, so I believe, so what you can enter, you can have telemetry be read at your at the tenant level, so within your Business Central environment, and I believe that partners and ISVs can insert their telemetry IDs into their applications themselves and insert their own traces so they can they can trace usability as users are using their application. I believe there's a Microsoft Docs explanation out there for that. I'll see if I can try to bring that up as we're talking here. But yeah, that's definitely something that's available to partners and to ISVs. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and paste my the docs link that I have on telemetry, and you'll see under the that application insights can be enabled at two different levels, at the tenant level and at the extension level. So. There's another question here on permissions required to access the BC administrator. So Microsoft has recently opened it up a little bit more for so the permissions for that is on the Microsoft 365 tenant level. You used to only be able to be the global admin, to be able to access the Business Central Admin Center. But now I believe you can have the Help Desk admin and the Dynamics 365 admin permission on Microsoft 365 to be able to access your Business Central admin environment. Great sources. So really, Microsoft Docs. I am really impressed on how much Microsoft is updating their Docs site with every version that's coming out, with every wave of Business Central. So Microsoft Docs is definitely the first place I've gone to learn things about the Business Central administration. I've also if you go to Innovia's website, Dynamics user group to ask questions, those are all great places as well. And then also if you go to learn.microsoft.com, Microsoft has some learning tutorials that'll take you through the Business Central Admin Center, so you could learn about the various pieces of functionality there. Would your administrator, let's see, next question. Would your administrator admin center be handled by client administrator or the Microsoft partner? So as a partner, if we are your CSP, we do have access to your Business Central environment and we can train you on it. But like any NAV or Business Central environment, if you have an IT resource that is responsible and knows your company's knows your company's practices, you can definitely give them access to a client. I definitely don't feel that it should be opened up to everybody, but I would follow the same security policies you have built in for your company when giving them access to your application server or your SQL database. So the same practices you have with direct access to those things, I would keep the same for Business Central Admin Center. So disaster recovery. So that's a good question. So Microsoft does impose disaster recovery scenarios on their end that takes a backup to your database, and you can even do a point-in-time restore to your Business Central database in SaaS as well. And then you can also download a backup copy of your environment. So it really, so Microsoft is handling their backup and recovery scenario to follow industry standards such as SOX compliance and GDPR, etc. So there is a Microsoft doc out there on that. I can find it, but if you look up their disaster recovery policies on Microsoft Docs, it'll explain all that there. But then also, if you'd like to be able to have a little bit more control of that, Microsoft does allow you to download copies of your SaaS database, and it comes down as a backpack. And you can keep a copy of your data on site as well. Let's see here. I want to disable user personalization for my tenant. Is there a setup in BC admin previously in nav admin? I don't believe so. That may be a permission set within Business Central, but I don't know 100% on the personalization question. I would start by looking at personal permission sets for that one. I don't believe there is not a setting in the actual admin center for business or in SaaS to disable that. Keep the questions coming. This is great. This is great stuff, everybody. I'm gonna paste a link to the disaster backup restore Microsoft doc for the question on the disaster recovery scenarios. On-prem has the configurator to customize user pages. Is the same available as SaaS? Yes, it is. It is. So there's two different modes. You have designer mode, which is the configurator mode in Nav on premise. So designer mode will allow you to be able to design for a particular role center. So it can have effect with everybody in the organization, or with that particular role center. And then there is what's called personalization, where if a user wants to be able to move columns around and change things on their own user without affecting everyone else in the company, that's done as well. So we got about a minute and a half to a minute here. So I just, so I don't get cut off, I just want to take a second to thank everybody. Thank the Dynamics user group. Thank you to, DynamicsCon. I mean, this has been a pleasure working with this group. I have a strong passion for the community. I have a strong passion for Business Central. So it's great that everyone has taken the time to listen to me today. And, thank you for allowing me to present to everybody today. I really appreciate it.